Welcome to this section where I will be demonstrating the new features and enhancements in Delft Fuse for dashboards. So the Fuse dashboards were introduced in 2019-02 and they are a very useful addition to the functionality of Delft Fuse. It allows you to nicely visualize your data in a different way, putting different spatial views together in a manner that can help you in your work. And this was nicely demonstrated in the new features video by my colleague Dave Casson in 2019. And there were some useful enhancements in 2020, and that's what I will be discussing with you. So as a kind of basic overview, the dashboard allows you to add different spatial views, and you can synchronize these frames both in time and in space, and you can create new dashboards from the Delft Fuse user interface. What I will be doing today is giving you a general introduction, but then I'll be showing you the new functionality because now it's possible to also visualize time series displays and not just spatial displays. In addition, you can use the accumulation slider within the dashboards, and I'll be discussing predefined versus user-defined dashboards and managing your user dashboards between you and your colleagues within your organization. I hope you find these features interesting. Here we have a Delft Fuse application that's used for training purposes, and it has data for France. And currently we're viewing the spatial data display rainfall forecast. We're quite used to the spatial display and all the functionality that it has. The tools bar here on top, the fine time control that we have at the slider down here. The dashboard is a way to combine different spatial views together. Let me first give a brief introduction of the dashboard. I can go up here to the dashboard in the menu bar, and then let me go to this predefined dashboard called GFS. What you can see here is that we have three different spatial views configured, and they are lined up side by side. On top, we still have our toolbar, which allows us to interact. And importantly, we have a synchronize button up here that synchronizes the map extents across the frames, which means that if I zoom into one map, the other maps will zoom as well. Down here, I have the time slider control. It also has a synchronization button, which means that if I move the time slider for one of them, all of them will move as well. If I deselect or unselect the synchronization button, and I'm currently here in the rainfall forecast display, I can move this one in time and the other ones will remain stable. I can control what is visible in these displays by double-clicking, which allows me to change what is visible in that particular display. I had the rainfall forecast selected. If I want to see the rainfall forecast for the catchments, I can select it down here, double-click, and here we have our view again, but now with a different source. You can additionally control the accumulation slider for the spatial displays that have such a slider configured. The rainfall forecast for the catchments has this. If I double click this, I can see my accumulation slider over here. And by using it, for example, setting it to an accumulation of 1 day, my spatial view in the dashboard will change for this particular display, and I can see in the title that it has a 1-day accumulation. Let's create a new dashboard. To do that, we go up to the dashboard in the menu and we click New Dashboard. This brings up a small menu in which we type the title. Now we open the test display, make sure that the other dashboard is closed, and now when we're in the spatial display and we select a particular product, for example the rainfall forecast, and we click the little Add to Dashboard icon in the top left corner, our spatial product is added to the dashboard. Let's do this one more time. Maybe this time I will go for the rainfall forecast ensemble. Once again, we have it selected. We push the button, and over here we have the ensemble product. Now, something to look out for is that this is an ensemble product. We're currently looking at one specific member. To control which member you are looking at, you can click this particular icon in the menu bar, Ensemble Thumbnails. This will bring up a thumbnail overview in which you can select the member that you actually want to take a look at. In this case, I stick with the control member. Maybe we will add the final product as well. So now we have 3 different spatial views. What is new in 2020 is that beside the spatial views in your dashboard, you can also add time series. This can be quite useful. Let us see how to do that. We go to the data display, and here for a particular location, which we might be interested in, let's say that we want to add this particular information. Just the plot. So we have the display group selected and we press the Add to Dashboard button. And there we go. Let's nicely and neatly arrange these frames. There we go. And these displays are still synchronized with each other. So when I move the time slider, we can see that the time series display is linked to the spatial views. And that's because this button is activated. This particular menu is associated with the time series display. Because I have that frame selected right now, you can see that when I select the spatial display, my toolbar changes and I get some control about these views as well. Double-clicking the time series display gives us some control. Let's say that I want to also view the table. Then I can activate the table. And by double-clicking again, I'm going to my view. In this case, it might not be very relevant, but you can imagine that having a table view as well as a plot view can be relevant in your dashboard. You can, of course, neatly arrange this. And also in the table view, you can see that the synchronization in time is still working as expected. But when I go to my dashboard in the menu bar, I can see all the dashboards that I have created. I will need to restart Delft Views for these dashboards to become user-defined dashboards that are stored in my local user settings file. When they are stored, they are available to me. And if I want to make these dashboards predefined dashboards and thus allowing me to share them with my colleagues. I can do so by pressing F12 when I'm in the dashboard menu and selecting the option Turn User-Defined Dashboard into Predefined. Delft Views will restart. Delft Views has now restarted. When I go to the dashboards, I see that one of the dashboards, the test display one, is in a different location. This is now a predefined display, which means that it's stored in the dashboards.ini file, which allows it to be shared, for example, in the root config files to other users who then also have the same display available. Another way to share your private dashboard with other users within a centralized system is to go to the dashboard option and the dashboard management panel. This allows you to select one of your private dashboards and make it public. By doing so, it becomes available through the operator client functions of other users. And we are back from our demonstration. So what we just saw was some interesting new features and enhancements within the dashboard. I hope these inspired you and gives you just this little bit more functionality that you can use in your day-to-day work. So there's one small addition that I didn't put in the demonstration, and that's that it's also possible now to include permissions for your dashboards. So depending on the permission group that you're in, certain dashboards become available to you or not. And this can be configured in your permissions configuration file. That brings us to the end of this demonstration. If you want more information or documentation, you can go to the Delft Views wiki, specifically the dashboard display, or you can Google Delft Views wiki plus additional search words, in this case dashboard display, and of course you can visit the Delft Views forum.